Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Task 2, essay types and introduction. With me. Okay, so let's get going. So, first essay type we'll have a look at is the discussion essay. This is one where you have to discuss both sides of an argument and give your own opinion. So, computers are being used more and more in education, okay? Some say that this is good, others say it's bad. So for this essay type, we'd have to talk about both sides on the one hand, on the other hand, and then give our own opinion. Another one of the more common question types is the opinion essay. It may say, do you agree or disagree? What do you think? Or to what extent? But essentially, it gives you a statement and you have to choose whether you agree with it or not. So here, it's asking, do we agree or disagree that the governments should impose a higher tax on fast food? Yes or no? Then we have the problem and solution. So, for example, global warming is one of the biggest threats humans face, blah, blah, blah. What's the problem? So, 2 parts. So you answer a question 1 in paragraph 2. And the second part, what's a solution, which you answer in paragraph 3. Then we've got the advantages and the disadvantages. Now, there's 2 or 3 different variations on this. It might just say, discuss what the advantages and disadvantages are. It doesn't ask for you to give any opinion or anything else. The second one, this is more common these days. Again, it'll give you a statement and it'll say, you know, do the advantages, do they outweigh? Is this a stronger side than the disadvantages? And you have to say, yes, this side is stronger, and then give 2 reasons why that side is stronger versus 1 reason why it is weaker. Then we've got the other one. It will say, discuss the advantages and disadvantages and give your opinion. So you have to say what they are and come down on one side. So this is basically the same as a discuss both views question. So what's the general layout or format of the essay? Introduction first. Body, a paragraph 1. Body 2. Conclusion, it's that simple. Now, you know, there's more than one way to bake a cake, or indeed to write an essay. So, you could write 5. It depends on the question type. But for most essays, 4 paragraphs will be fine. So, what's the structure of the introduction? That's what we're going to have a look at. Well, sentence 1, you simply paraphrase the topic. We don't want any, it is a controversial topic these days, it is a phenomenon nowadays. We don't want any of that. Simply restate the topic, and that's it. Sentence 2, what's the opinion, what's the thesis, the position the essay will take? Again, that depends what the question type is. Outline, something that people do not use so often, but which they ought to. I will discuss the measures of both sides and will give my answer in the following paragraphs. That doesn't say anything. We want an outline. What's your main ideas? We'll see some examples. Now, what does it mean by paraphrase? Well, here's a definition. It's rewriting a phrase. So it's the same meaning, but with different words. Now, this is something the criteria does ask for, right? If you use the same words, then you'll get a lower score. So we've got 4 different ways. Excuse me. 4 different ways which we can use. So the first one, obviously, is synonyms. Now, I say this every day, 1,000 billion million times. Well, once or twice. But still, people use synonyms incorrectly. They open a dictionary and they find some complicated word that they think is a synonym, but often it is not. If you're not 100% sure, don't use it. And you can see here a good example. So public holidays, national holidays, these days, more and more people. Okay. Now, the second is to change the word order. Put the subordinate clause to the main clause, change it around from back to front, etc. So if you look at this one, so it's a waste of time is at the back. Art is an essential subject. You simply change it around, change the order. That would do fine. This is, I think, is one of the most risk-free methods, changing the word form. So instead of thinking of synonyms that may not work, change the form. So change it from a verb to a noun. Increasing becomes an increase. Decreasing becomes a decrease. How about that? So the fourth, because it's an academic essay, you can make it passive. Perfectly fine. So should provide becomes should be provided by. Excellent. So here's a sample. In some societies, the number of crimes committed by teenagers is growing. Some people think that, regardless of age, teenagers who commit major crimes should receive adult punishment. So you can see in red, yellow, green, and blue societies, certain parts of the world, crimes committed by teenagers, juvenile delinquency, regardless of age, without considering their age. Punishment becomes punishing. Excellent. So that would do fine. That would do fine. So agree or disagree. We'll look at the typical question like words. So this is for sentence 2. What's your opinion? Do you agree or disagree? To what extent? Or it'll say, is it a positive development or a negative? But basically it's asking the same thing. Which side? Yes or no? So here's some expressions. It is agreed, it is disagreed, this essay agrees, I believe, in my opinion, in my view, etc. So advantage and disadvantages, it may say discuss them. So if it does, we don't need any opinion or thesis because it doesn't ask it. You know, the best thing, sorry. The best thing is to always give the examiner exactly what they ask. Don't give them anything more or anything less. It's that simple. Question 2. It may say to discuss them and give your own opinion. So what can we do? In my opinion, I believe, in my view, I think, etc. This is the third one, typical question words. Do the advantages outweigh? Is this a stronger side? So in my opinion, so I mean, you can paraphrase it, you know, so advantages is benefits, drawbacks, disadvantages, you know, so the pros and the cons, the negative, the positive, etc. I believe, in my view, etc. The discussion questions. typical words to discuss both points of view and give your opinion. Well, if you want to make it more, now these discussion questions are meant to be more balanced, more objective. So if you wish to take your opinion out, this essay agrees, this essay will discuss. It's up to you. As I say, there's more than one way to write an essay. So what's the typical question words for problem and solution questions? What are some of the problems and what are some of the possible solutions? So essentially it's a two-part question. That's for paragraph 2. That's for paragraph 3. Now, there's no need to give any thesis or opinion because, again, it doesn't ask for any. So always give the examiners exactly what they ask for. Here's an example. In some societies, the number of crimes committed by teenagers is growing. Some people think that, regardless of age, teenagers who commit major crimes should receive adult punishment. To what extent do you agree? I disagree, or I agree. Now, the third sentence, this is the outline. Again, this is something that lots of people fail to include, or they give a very generic outline, such as this essay will consider both points of view. I will consider the reasons for this in the paragraphs, blah, blah, blah. That's not good enough. It's an empty sentence. It's pointless. Don't waste it. So this basically says what you're going to be talking about in paragraph 2 and 3. Let's have a look. So this is the same question, regardless of age. Children are not mature enough to differentiate between right and wrong, and also they have less responsibilities as adults do. I agree or disagree with statement because reason 1 and reason 2. Now, you don't have to say a lot about it here because you're going to be developing this in your body paragraphs with reasons and examples, So let's take a look at this introduction here. So red is the paraphrase, green is the opinion, and blue is the outline. In certain parts of the world, there has been an increase in the rate of juvenile delinquency. Some individuals agree upon punishing these youngsters in the same way as adults without considering their age. I disagree with this statement because children are not mature enough to differentiate right and wrong, and also they have less responsibilities as adults do. So that's it. It's pretty straightforward. There's no extraneous bits and pieces, no bad examples. Now, we're going to look at some bad examples in a second, and just to illustrate what you should try to avoid. So, sorry, let me just have some more tea. There. So, in the modern world, the image is becoming a more powerful way of communicating than the written word. To what extent do you agree or disagree? It is said that using social network that include photography and film tools is essential and powerful ways of communication. I concur with the statement due to some measures. This is what I'm talking about. The examiner is going to read this and he's going to have no idea what your opinion is. It's not clear. What are you talking about? And where's it going? Here's another one. The same question. Nowadays, communication is significantly exposed to the images such as film and photograph. Okay. It is a fact that written words have been outdated so far. It's a fact, an absolute fact. I agree with the above idea according to the assessments in this essay. Well, that's not an outline. That's about as clear as mud. Oh dear. Let's see. What else? Another one. Now, this is something that somebody posted in the group, and we didn't make any comment because it's an essay, 108 words. What is eye-catching is that there has been myriad virtues to going to university, not only for promoting, oh dear me, one of the most precious consequences with higher education is that society, oh dear me. So, you know, I don't want to be overly harsh, but but this is rubbish, you know. So we'll say no more about that one. Let's see some good examples now. Again, this is from a topic because of the earthquake that happened last week. Unfortunately, this is a real question. So it's to what extent, etc. So as you see, sentence one, it paraphrases. We never know. It's impossible to predict. Adverse events, citizen protection measures, every precaution implemented by states, government should. I concur as reason one and reason two. So that isn't bad. That's pretty good as an example. Let's have another look. So in what ways has technology affected the type of relationships? Is this good or bad? In today's world, new developments have had an impact on interactions among many an individual. Okay. The availability has affected relationships. So it's answering question two, which I believe has such a positive effect as saving time. Okay. Here's another one. This is the one also that we posted in the group this past week about homework for kids. While some believe assignments given by teachers to young learners are of paramount importance, others feel the opposite. Although homework can use up pupils' free light time, in my opinion, inclusion of homework will encourage autonomous learning. So the basic ingredients are there. That's it.